issues of economic growth. We saw stability in our nation. Economy was growing significantly. We also saw a situation whereby, as a nation, we were debt free. We were no longer in bondage. He also spearheaded the Pan Africanist concept as well, whereby he saw a reality that as South Africa, we should be as South Africa, we should be a global player, but not only a global player, but starting from home in the African continent. And he had various roles as well, leadership roles in the continent, but particularly ensuring that there's stability and peace in Africa, because the peace in Africa impact positively to the economic growth of South Africa as well. He led a process of a broad-based economic empowerment, and he drove it. Should I say he had an energy for it? And his term ended in 2008, whereby he handed over to President Kgalema Motlanthe, who took over for a year after him. President Kgalema Motlanthe drove the war on poverty program, and particularly in certain districts that were affected by poverty. But it was not only the poverty interventions, it was, should I say, holistic programs that would see the people in those particular communities that were identified literally getting out of poverty for a sustainable period, because it was looking at ensuring that the women headed household and the children headed household are taken care of, to the point that even the education of those children, so that we ensure sustainability in terms of generations to generations. And then there were also elections during that period that saw the election of President Jacob Zuma taking over as the fourth democratic president of South Africa from 2009 to 2018. And President Jacob Zuma was, should I say, he drove vigorously the program of HIV and AIDS interventions, and he drove the availability of ARVs and the preventative to HIV and AIDS as well. He also launched the National Development Plan during his period as well. And it was the grand plan that would see a number of reforms and things changing in the South African context, to the point that we were looking now at saying the South Africa that we want by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
And then President Jacob Zuma period ended in 2018. And at the time, I must mention this a little bit to say, during 2008, 2009, the globe was affected economically.
Yes.
And a number of countries were in technical recession. And we were also affected in South Africa, but we managed to escape the recession. Then President Jacob Zuma handed over through President Cyril Ramaphosa to finish off the fifth administration.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2018. President Cyril Ramaphosa drove economic growth drastically to the point of launching the investment conference,
Yes.
whereby we were inviting the international, but also the domestic investors to increase their investment to the country.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the investment conference really surpassing all the targets that were set for it. And that I think within 3 years, it was scheduled. And then President Cyril Ramaphosa focused more as well on number of economic reforms, particularly
Mm-hmm.
and nation, I would say, all the interventions that would ignite the economy, looking at businesses investing in the country as well. He also spearheaded the anti-corruption program, whereby he felt that for this country to be recognized internationally as well, and some form of ease for investment to come in, he had to ensure that we eradicate corruption altogether in South Africa. And in the midst of that, we have seen President Cyril Ramaphosa driving a number of izimbizos as well, to ensure that service delivery is taken seriously across the country. And he went, he led a number of Izimbizo to various provinces. Usually you'd have one Imbizo per province, but in his era we saw a number of interventions through Izimbizo's program. He also spearheaded the intervention, particularly in the water sector, where the Rand Water was deployed to assist municipalities, and also some other water boards being positioned to intervene to ensure that we have water security. At the time, we also had water challenges in Eastern Cape, at a process of interventions. Well, and just towards the end of his he also formed a presidential working group in Tekwini municipality, understanding the strategic role that growing of the GDP of the country, but in general also to make sure that we build, should I say, the investor confidence as well. And there are many other programs that I didn't mention that South Africa has managed to come through, and as we are celebrating the 30 years of freedom and democracy, I think we are a nation that the quality, we're doing extremely well in terms of the education in South Africa. We have seen also, as part of the things that we have to highlight in 30 years of freedom and democracy, the should I say the that in terms of the road infrastructure that work, top 13 in the world in terms of the quality of our road infrastructure, particularly our national roads. So there's a lot of things that we should be proud about as South Africa, as we are saying, we 30 years on, this is where we are and how we shape the 30 years going forward.
Thank you very much. Wow. You know what? As you're saying, I'm just, feeling this. I'm being, I'm starting to feel very patriotic to realize that, we have come a long way and there's so much that we have done. And indeed, as we usher in the 7th administration, it is clear to see that the president-elect, Mr. Ramaphosa, has still got a lot of work to do in terms of, moving forward with some of the visions and some of the programs that he started in the 6th administration. And it is so sobering to realize that, we are a 30-year-old who has done so much, and we actually managed to also buffer our country against some serious economic recessions post-COVID-19. What we have managed to do as South Africa to keep out of being in recession is quite remarkable, and that is all thanks to the work that the 6th administration has managed to do, and what the investment conferences and government partnering with business was able to achieve. So, wow.
Acting DG, I think it's very important to also note that we've got guests here, South Africans from all walks of life, guests from outside of the country that have gathered here to witness this momentous occasion of the president being inaugurated as the new president in the 7th administration. How does one crack an invite? Who gets invited? And how difficult is it to put an event like this together?
Let me first just a little bit let you know what Kopo spoke about in terms of COVID.
Yes.
I forgot to say, and how can I, to say we topped the world in terms of dealing with COVID in South Africa. Because even the other African countries, they relied on us. It was through the leadership of President Ramaphosa that they were even able to get vaccines and so forth. Now, coming back to the president of the 7th administration and how difficult it is. It has been a long walk to freedom, if I can say.
30-year walk.
Yeah, 30-year walk. We started the process in October last year, and it's not a child's play because you have to coordinate different national departments, municipalities. Remember, we have 3 metros that are forming part of this.
Yes.
Provinces, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, Free State, they had to be part and parcel of this whole come in, because we are together in this. We play different roles. They must come in. They did not only come in to attend, they provide sponsorships, the private sector. They are obviously, because we can reach cornerstone. And then we then also said, okay, South Africa, and
Yes.
we operate with some such as, and obviously then neighbors. We operate within the African countries, those within the we can invite African, and you look who are our friends also within Africa, because so basically you want to invite. Then we are part of the multilateral agreements. So who are those? Obviously, we are part of the and we also have those whom we call the friends of South Africa. Remember, we come and
Yes.
we had those with us that we saw our freedom. That's how the
Now, the seventh is going to negotiation.
and we are having administration 7th inauguration whilst we celebrated 30 years of freedom and democracy. And obviously, having been all out in terms of how far we want the 30 years of, because it's time now we look back and say, yes, inaugurations, the determination about elections, so like your electoral, this party must lead us. This time around, the voters setting the majority. Of us. See how you lead, but very we saw winning the majority, but passive leadership among some first, some first, see a better South Africa for all, and stability in our nation. Aside our party politics, that ship for the benefit of South Africans. So, president of the but national union, meaning all encompassing the other and that's what unity that our to lose.
Yeah.
But no, there's peace. We are excited. There's stability. If you have even seen how the market are performing, we have proved that as South African, we are peaceable people. As South African, we are progressive. South African, we are moving forward. And South Africans forward to ensure that ours is a prosperous country.
Thank you very, very much. Yes, indeed, South African over again. What a resilient nation we are, because against all odds, we are able to make sure that this country
countries as well are already here arriving as we speak. So what you have right now is the program that's already started, and back just behind me as well at the lawns, you do have a cultural program which is underway as we speak right now. So the program is right underway. One of the things that obviously want to focus on has been the theme of this important inauguration, the 30 years of democracy and freedom, and talking about partnership and growth. A lot of question about what will be included in the speech by the president after the inauguration as well, the president-elect President Cyril Ramaphosa as well. So we are looking forward to receiving more heads of states. As we have seen earlier on, the arrival from 2 days back, we saw the arrival of many heads of state as well, particularly also a number of them from SADC countries. We have seen the President and Mbuzo Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe as well arriving. We countries who are in other part of the continents. We're talking about in Asia and also in the Middle East as well. Other countries have decided to send the head of governments and also their prime ministers representing their president as well. So a number of dignitaries have already arrived, and the program will be starting in earnest. Let me take this opportunity as well to just confirm. Earlier on, we saw the arrival of a number of kings as well. We saw King Misizulu KwaZulu-Natal arriving earlier on, and talking about just the significance of this day, looking at some of these issues that are coming, dignitaries that are here. Let me hand it to studio right now, Hushun Mrauzi and Kubo Dlof.
What are your thoughts in regards to, how do you think or see this playing out? They've already had discussions. Parties have already put their hands up to say that they're going to put the people first. And politics ahead of what is best for the country. And then also, there's been some battering going on in terms of policies to take forward and so on. But really, what I would like to see is the continuation of this brilliance in terms of economic policies that are garnered towards making sure that South Africa becomes a prosperous nation.
Not true. I mean, when you reflect on 30 years and you start to look at maturing, maturity, and you start looking at democracies in other places like Europe, which are some of the older democracies that you have, you start to realize that as the democracy matures, also the voters start to vote differently. You will start maybe with the liberation movement, but as you come, you start changing your vote to your needs and what speaks to you at the time. So you start to adjust. You start to see a system where no party gets an outright majority, which means the community, the citizens, say, you guys must sit and govern together. From South African society, we want you to sit together, figure out, and it's exciting because now we've moved on from a point where this political party or that one will say, we're going to do like this because this is what our conference decided. Now we have to take the view of each and every South African into perspective, and then it will be a difficult one for the president-elect, once elected president, form a cabinet. Because
Absolutely. And it will be interesting to see. But you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of and also realize that there is no perfect person. So there is no perfect one political party that got the outright majority.
yes,
It means that South Africans are starting to recognize that, you know what, I like this about you, I like this about you, I like this about you. So now come together and make something work that will, resemble this almost perfect partner
yes.
that you want. So
The different pieces
yes,
to make the one.
yes, the different pieces to make the one. And also, DG mentioned that a lot of heads of state have been invited. I wonder what is their take on this new historic moment for South Africa. I mean, yes, it is the second time around that we've got a government of national unity, but we've got, the presidents and from our SADC neighbors and also presidents from other African countries. I wonder what it is that they make of this. Do you know who all is here?
Well, I think from the top of my head, I know that the vice president of Uganda is here. I know that the prime minister of Burundi is here. I also know that the former head of state of Nigeria is here, Olusegun Obasanjo. I also know that the current president of Nigeria is also arrived. I know that King Letsie, the third of Lesotho, has also arrived. I think I also know that the King Muswati III has also made his presence felt, amongst other kings and queens of the continent. And but the mere fact of them being here with us today, it's a vote of confidence.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a vote of confidence in South Africa. It's a vote of confidence in what we are doing democratically. And also, they like how we exercise our democracy, because we must not forget that South Africa is a beacon of hope in how we exercise our democracy to the full extent.
Yes.
I mean, we've had peaceful elections, which were not marred by any violence. Yes, there are processes that are being disputed, but they are being disputed through legal processes.
Yes.
So South Africans have not taken to the streets. They have not rejected the outcomes of the election. So we move on to the next part. Members of parliament have been sworn in, and we are here today to inaugurate the president. of confidence by these leaders from the region that are coming to say, we are coming to witness this moment in the amphitheater.
I would like to take you through over the crash event that is currently happening at the lawns, where we've got a cultural event where the Java and so many other artists that are there. And also we'll be looking at our military that will be doing the and here at the Union Building we can see dignitaries that also on my left. We are just having a nice relaxed feeling, and South Africans are enjoying themselves. They are feeling part of being this 7th administration inauguration of 2020, and all is going well. It's so lively. All the artists is so exciting. It's so exciting right here from the lawns. It's so lively, and everyone is arriving, and we're still waiting for our president to come through, and also other dignitaries. They are still arriving as well, and we're having lots of activities lined up. And I would like to also find out from my colleague, what are your thoughts on today's proceedings?
I must tell you that, thank you so much. I must tell you that it's actually my first time attending the inauguration right here at Union Buildings. And remember 1994 when it all happens for our countries will reflect 30 years of freedom as well. So just being here after 30 years, when you are young, sometimes you don't know how significant the moment is. So I think it's quite exciting to be part of history today and really witness South Africa celebrating 30 years of what has been achieved so far. And what is good to see is that dignitaries around the world have come to celebrate with South Africa, but also marking this important institution as well, to say they're supporting our democracy as well and what this country also stands for. So it's been really exciting, but also the cultural element as well. So South Africa is on display, just to really showcasing what this country can do, because we know just how big the creative industry is in this country. So it's been quite exciting to see people that even in 1994 were at this amphitheater, and they've come like 30 years back and celebrate our achievements as well. And looking forward to some of the issues and how the president in his speech probably looking at how we're going to accelerate programs and service delivery, all these issues. So we're just really excited, and just how the world has descended to Pretoria today.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we'll be to our studio for them to take over from us. Thank you.
Your Majesties, Excellencies, distinguished.
Yeah, and Tali,
Yes.
we are going to, a lot of things are going to be happening here. There'll be the ceremonial processes, including the 21 gun salute, including a fly past, including some military parade, and all of that actually has a significance. And you know that there's also a meaning behind the justice being the one to make that to take the oath. And then at a later stage, you will have somebody from the SANDF who will come and take us through exactly these proceedings, what they all their significance in this occasion. And so what I know is that we'll have the Secretary of Parliament who will also be telling us, some of the proceedings leading up to today's event. So like Ms. Nomanda Mnukwa mentioned earlier on, a lot goes into preparing such an event. So it's not, an ordinary event. It is one that has got a lot of meaning behind each and every aspect of it. So I don't know if you know anything about the 21 gun salute, but I know that it is actually a high-ranking and honorable kind of a process or ceremony, and it's not everybody who gets a 21 gun salute. It is reserved for presidents and royalty.
I have heard when there are state visits here, either by kings and queens and other presidents, that when the state visit is official at the Union buildings, you will hear at noon to say that someone important is with you.
Yes. So who is important that is I think you've already mentioned them. Is it the president of Nigeria is here?
The president of Angola is here.
The president of Angola is here.
And the president of Mozambique.
Then is it the president of Malawi who's here?
The president of Malawi, they've just lost the vice president.
They've lost the vice president, but there is a representative,
from
a dignitary from the government. So, condolences to the Malawian people, but we are pleased and honored that they actually did send, a dignitary or a representative to come and witness this occasion with us here in South Africa.
I think we also have from Brazil, a representation from Cuba as well. And these are from outside of the continent who came to share with South Africa this momentous occasion. And then you get to realize how important it is to honor and observe ceremonies, national days, which I think and the apex of the calendar, the judiciary, parliament, and the executive seated together and to do work for them. We know there are three of them. This is the one time we get to see them all together in one.
You start to realize that indeed all these arms or spheres of government, or all these arms of government, together they work for into this 30 years of democracy and beyond. It is important that as South Africans we always remember that partnership and growth together is what will get us to summit this mountain in South Africa. And also there's also a lot of other dignitaries who are here from provinces.
Yes.
And former ministers and also former presidents. I wonder if former President Mbeki is here. Do you
I
have
don't
an
know
idea?
yet, but I think as we are broadcasting, there are arrivals that keep happening. We've had some local royalties, local South African royalties also arrive. They get announced by the program director, which is just behind us. So everything that is meant to happen today is happening right behind us, and it's very important that we are doing this from the seat of government in Pretoria, the Union Buildings, South Africa. And just to reflect on the spectacle that is the inauguration. When the military parade will do their fly